All right, so here we are, Dolphins and Cardinals. This is week 9 of last year. And this was a pretty good game for Tua Tagovailoa overall. Dolphins end up winning this game, I believe, at the end. And what is impressive about this game is kind of Tua's willingness to push the ball down the field. Now, there were times this year that Tua seemed a bit hesitant to push the ball down the field. Now, this is not a novel idea, but some people were saying how maybe he was a perfectionist. Maybe he was looking for his guy to be Alabama open instead of NFL open. And I think there's some examples of this game of him doing the opposite, of him fitting balls into tight windows and also running some play action, which I think is absolutely huge. Dolphins only ran play action when Tua was in the field under 30% of the time, something like 27% of the time, which, watching this film and kind of looking at Tua, I think he's better off in play action, in, running RPOs, kind of quick developing routes, and he can push the ball down the field, but it needs to sort of be set up for him, and it needs to be out of these play action looks more than, let's say, him just sitting back in an empty formation or with one running back next to him, and putting the ball down the field in a clean pocket, right? Because his pocket isn't always clean. The Dolphins' offensive line was inconsistent, right? They weren't horrible, but they weren't good. And that put Tua in some bad positions this year or last year as well, okay? So not totally Tua's fault. In this video, I'll go through the good and the bad. And like I said, not totally Tua's fault with the bad, but there are some things that definitely are concerning about that, okay? So we'll go ahead and look at this, right? The Dolphins have two new offensive coordinators this year. It was Chan Gailey last year, who, is known to kind of design his offense around players' strengths. But of course, when you have two different quarterbacks playing during the regular season, it's kind of hard to do that. So I don't know if it's necessarily Chan Gailey's fault, right, that Tua wasn't put in a position to succeed. And I don't think that Tua failed necessarily, but there were some things to be concerned with. So it is yet to be seen, right, what the offense will look like under the new offensive coordinators. But my assumption and my hope would be that they give him some more play action, some more RPOs that he can be successful off of a little bit easier rather than having him sit back in a maybe not so clean pocket. Okay. So our first play here is a play action, right? Play action motion to the right. Our tight end here, it's going to look like a split zone. So our offensive line will all block to the right. Our tight end will pushing across the formation, will fool the defensive end, and Tua is going to push it downfield to Mike Gesicki. Mike Gesicki, who I guess you could say was a breakout last year. I mean, I know some people knew about him, right? But he really turned it up this year to be one of the top tight end targets in the league and someone who Tua will come to rely on. All right, so let's get into this. So like I said, right? Great faking the linebackers up, defensive end bites hard. Tua's rolling out, and as a lefty quarterback, right, this is kind of perfect for him. Okay, got open space in front of him. Linebackers are recovering. This linebacker's got his head turned, right, but he's trying to recover to his zone. Gesicki's going to run open. Tua recognizes that pretty easily, and he delivers a strike. A really nice ball, honestly. On the run, right, kind of off his feet, but at the same time, I love watching Tua throw. He throws with great zip on the ball, right? He kind of gets it out quick, and especially on the run, like I said. So I think putting him in those positions, all right, look at that, really, really right past the linebacker, and we'll watch the tight view as well. Again, play fake, great play fake. His eyes are locked on Gesicki already. He knows this linebacker scrambling to recover. Can't, look at Tua's eyes because he's trying to get to his spot. Gesicki beats him there, right? And again, throw on the run and just on a rope, right where it needs to be so Gesicki can make the catch. Could have been maybe, could have let him a little bit, but I think that's a good play nonetheless. Good play design and good throw by Tua on the run. All right, so the same game later on. This is the end of the third quarter. Something before the play happens here. Guy lines up wrong, left side of the formation. Tua's directing traffic. Looks good, especially for a rookie quarterback. He also admitted the other day that he didn't know the playbook very well, which he's getting some crap for. I mean, listen, I think he's being honest, and a rookie quarterback who came in the pandemic year with no real training camp is not going to know the playbook perfectly, right? So I think maybe he's being too honest. Maybe people are just giving him crap for something that most, if not all of the rookie quarterbacks last year probably also went through and maybe just aren't saying it. Okay, but good job directing traffic before the play, and also a great throw on this play with pressure in his face. So when I go through the bad, I'll mention how Tua kind of has happy feet in the pocket sometimes, meaning he'll think the pocket is collapsing when he might just have to step up. And this is a good example of him doing the opposite, right? Standing strong and delivering a strike with great anticipation, right? So they're in a mugged look here, right? Meaning you're bringing guys up to the line. And I've showed this when I showed the Bills defense, I think, and the Patriots do this a lot as well. And actually so do the Dolphins, bringing guys up to the line so that the quarterback and the offensive line have no idea who's going to come, right? Who's coming, who's dropping back, okay? Snaps the ball. They drop a guy out on the outside, okay? And Tua, let's go here, okay, is a free rusher here. Sees someone rushing in his face, all right? And his eyes are downfield, right? He's not worrying about it, not rushing. He's in the end zone, right? So it's a high pressure situation here, okay? And he recognizes pretty quickly, right, that this corner here is following him. He's got this guy running a little hitch inside. That's Preston Williams running a hitch inside. So this little opening is going to be perfect for his man to just sit in, right? So when I talk about throwing with anticipation, I'll slow this down just for our sake, okay? Talk about throwing with anticipation. Right there. This corner is taking a step going out, not to get this guy, right? Patrick Peterson is here, but to follow this kind of flat route, right? The route right there, right? Tua sees him put his foot in the ground. He knows his receiver's sitting right here, and he delivers an awesome throw with pressure in his face, right? With hands in his face. It's also an awesome throw, as we'll look here, because Patrick Peterson's there, right? He can break on this ball. Awesome corner in the league, except Tua puts it on the inside, right? Only his receiver can get to it. An awesome throw, right? With anticipation and also perfect ball placement with pressure in his face. So he can definitely do it, but it's about doing it consistently for next year. All right, it's the same game, Cardinals-Dolphins here. This is the fourth quarter, and Dolphins are down 1 touchdown here. This is second and medium. And Tua, does something here where it's more of a just make a play, okay? Now, there are a lot of people out there who are, much smarter than I am when it comes to this, but, I don't do player comparisons necessarily unless it kind of strikes me. But here, and in some other clips, as far as pocket presence and moving around the pocket goes, Tua from time to time reminds me of Russell Wilson. So this is an example of it, the rushing ability and kind of the playmaking ability. In the pocket, I would say presence needs some work, and I'll show that in the second half of this video. But I think his ability to do these things will really help him when he does get in trouble, right? Rather than perceiving that he's in trouble, if an opening presents itself, that he's able to do things like this, right? This is a nice scramble for about 20 yards. Okay, drops back. Actually stands pretty tough in the pocket here, at least for the first couple seconds. It is collapsing a bit on him, right? His right tackle is giving up a lot of ground. Turns around again. You don't want to run into pressure, or you don't want to create pressure for yourself. And from time to time, Tua will do that. He'll kind of run into a sack, which also would be pretty easy comparison to Russell Wilson because he does that all the time. But here, the play he makes, right, breaks a tackle, slips between two guys, right, and rushes for 20 yards. He's got some wheels, right? Now, a concern would obviously be his hip injury at Alabama. Kind of a weird injury, not one you really want to mess around with necessarily. So I know Dolphins fans probably don't want to see him getting tackled down the field, right? Maybe slide. But just his ability to duck and weave in the pocket here is really impressive, at least to me. Right, drops back, sees nothing, turns around, breaks a tackle, jukes two guys out of their shoes, and then is able to escape. Right, maybe slide there to right, but nonetheless a great play. And like I said, Russell Wilson-esque, right? Just got to work on some other parts of his game to get there. All right, this is the Chargers-Dolphins game, right? One of Tua's first. One of Tua's. All right, we're here in the Chargers-Dolphins game, and I'm transitioning here to the bad. Now, some of the bad in these first couple plays are going to be straight up just throws that he misses. Now, it's not unique to Tua Tagovailoa to miss throws, right? Every quarterback in the NFL misses throws, but to miss by as much as he does and also put himself in some precarious situations is a bit concerning, right? Because if you want to take that next step, he's the 5th overall pick. So, right, at Alabama, he's throwing to wide open guys, and everyone says, like with Mac Jones this year, like, was it the guys around him? How much of it was him? And I do think Tua has some really unbelievable talent and potential. But again, taking this next step is not missing these throws, okay? So he's going to target his favorite target here, Mike Gesicki, right? And Gesicki is covered, but I see the opening, right? I see the opening here. You put it on him. You lead him a little bit, and this is a complete pass. Okay, but again, he throws it behind him, doesn't get intercepted. Very, very, very lucky there, right? One turnover that didn't show up on the stat sheet. Just a dangerous position you put yourself in. Again, it's a play action, but he's sitting, right? He's sitting back here. So again, play action, which works for him. But again, I just think he's better on the run, maybe rolling a little bit. And I don't think he can't do this. He certainly can. But when he's back here, I think he might be thinking too much. And here, it's just a throw that he straight up misses. So again, a nice, spiral. He throws a nice, quick ball, quick release. But then, Gesicki's here. And that's not what you want, right? You lead him a little bit. Maybe you cut him a little short over here, right? But if you throw it behind him, especially with that guy there, you're giving him a chance to make a play on the ball, right? Which they almost and should have done. That's why he's a defensive back. All right, same game here. This is later on in the second quarter, and Tua here. Let me reverse just a second. I think he overthinks sometimes, right? And I say happy feet, and I'll get to that in a second, but they're shifting around. Right? The Chargers are shifting. Right? He has a lot to think about. Who's rushing? Who's not? Right? In the pocket, this is fine. Steps up, right? Sees his man breaking, but he's not really open, right? He's targeting Devontae Parker over here. You can sort of see him, right? He's targeting Devontae Parker, and a good idea, but he's got a clean pocket, and that's just a bad pass. I mean, that's just a bad pass. He misses when he's got no one in his face. So again, I think it's got to be mental, right? If he leads him a little bit, maybe he makes this throw. But again, that's probably 5 yards in front of him, maybe PI even. But I don't know if that ball was catchable. So again, more consistency and getting those to be, instead of 50-50 as to we're going to make this throw or not, getting those closer to be like 95%, and then it's an off throw when he misses something like that. All right, so continuing on with some of the bad from Tua. Here's a 3-step drop, right? He's in the shotgun, and again, he's in an empty formation, which I don't think necessarily should be his bread and butter, or is his bread and butter, okay? So you see on this play, pretty simple one, where he's got some in-breaking routes, and he's got his tight end going out in the flat. What he's going to try and do is he's going to try and force it out to this in-breaking route from the outside and almost get intercepted. And I'll talk about the pocket presence and what kind of makes me a bit concerned, but again, is partially on his offensive line as well here in just a second, okay? We'll go tight. Like I said, he's got a man open to the left. Maybe not a huge gain, but not a turnover, right? Not a turnover-worthy play, and this is certainly a turnover-worthy play. So again, both his tackles, his right tackle gives up too much ground here. There's not even a question, okay? But they're rushing 3, right? He could step up and not necessarily have to scramble, put himself in a position where he has to force it, which he actually does, okay? Again, bails out. This is unacceptable from your tackle, right? He is in the pocket. He is the pocket right now, right? You cannot give up that much ground. But at the same time, right, Tua could step up, right, and not have to necessarily scramble. And I like him throwing on the run, but not when he's running for his life. And again, he was looking left. He was looking for his tight end out here, but instead looks toward the middle of the field, and we'll slow this down. Right, zips the ball, but again, jumped and could have been an interception. There's too much traffic there. Can't make that throw. And again, love Tua on the run, love Tua with play action, but don't love necessarily the pocket presence of just bailing out. Yes, you have to step up. Yes, your tackles are not doing a very good job, right? But that doesn't mean to force the play, right? You still got to take what the defense is giving you. And right there, that's a turnover that doesn't show up on the stat sheet. All right, so here we are at the end of, this is the fourth quarter of the Raiders and Dolphins game from week 16. And this is one of the last plays that Tua gets before he gets benched. And again, the benching in and of itself, I don't love. Again, he wasn't getting it done, but at the same time, I don't think it was entirely his fault, and they're kind of playing a style which suits Fitzpatrick a bit more than I think it suited Tua. So kind of having that Tua's in, Fitzpatrick's in, Tua's in, Fitzpatrick's in, is a tough dynamic because, what quarterback are you designing your offense for? And I think it was more for Fitzpatrick than it might have been for Tua, and Tua was kind of forced into that system rather than the system being built around him, around that young quarterback, okay? So here's a pretty simple play, and this kind of highlights some of those happy feet habits that I was talking about. And again, not entirely to his fault because that comes from him not having a clean pocket most of the time. But here he has not a clean pocket, but a cleaner pocket than he's had before. And he was sacked a couple of times before this. So you'll have some shorter developing routes here. I'll play this and then pause. And then you'll have a post and a corner, okay? So you got a quick out here, right? you're going to have a check down here. This guy's running a post and him running a little in route, a little short in route. Then he's running the corner, okay? So he's got options here, right? He's got a couple of routes going down the field and a couple of short routes with a check down the middle of the field. The linebackers are dropping deep, right, because they see this. So the check down's there. And Tua feels this pocket not collapsing, again, because he's seen it collapse a couple times. Before this, he got sacked maybe twice in the last 10 minutes in the last 2 drives. So he's thinking about it, right? It's in his mind, which, again, is not entirely Tua's fault, but he's got to, when he has that clean pocket, or at least a relatively clean clean area to work in, he's got to sit tight and not, run into sacks. I gave the Russell Wilson comparison, and with that comparison comes some of the negatives as well, right? Russell Wilson will run himself into some sacks, which, again, doesn't have a perfect offensive line, but you're not doing them any favors when you're running into pressure, okay? And that's what Tua does here. So I'm going to play this, and right, he starts to scramble, and again, check downs there, outs there, if he sits tight in the pocket, but he scrambles, right, because he starts to feel pressure, sense pressure, or maybe it's in his mind from the last couple times, and he runs into a sack. And we'll watch it for the tight view as well, because it gives you a better idea of what he was seeing. Okay, but that's a sack for about a 9-yard loss, and after this drive, this was second down. After this drive, he ends up getting benched. And again, the Dolphins' offensive line is not great, was not great last year. They did make some improvements, but what you're going to have here is a 4-man rush, right? And you're going to have not even a twist, kind of a delayed twist, right? So you're going to have your defensive end rush upfield, dip inside. Then your big defensive tackle is going to rush straight upfield and then work to the outside, right? So it's kind of a delayed twist, like I said. And this makes Tua a little bit nervous. And the Dolphins' offensive line doesn't do a great job at passing this off or communicating, okay? So again, we have the running back vacating for the check down. We have Arden Key on the outside, dipping inside. So Tua sees a helmet here, right? The guard's trying to work out. But at the same time, right now, this is a relatively clean pocket. It's not perfect, but it's a clean pocket. Okay, again. And here, right, Tua, I think my defensive end's going inside. He thinks he has this rolling area over here. He doesn't, because our big defensive tackle is working to the outside, which is why he kind of runs himself into a sack, right? If he sits tight, and again, you have a one-on-one, helmet on a helmet, your right tackle's doing a decent job here, you're not stepping up, but you're sitting tight here, right? You're sitting tight. He sees 1, 2, 3 white helmets and white jerseys, so he should think, okay, they have that side relatively under control. Like I said, he got sacked a couple times, and this pressure is somewhat in his face, so he thinks, okay, if I roll out here, because my defensive end here, right, he's thinking this guy's setting the edge. If he's coming inside, then the outside should be open, right? And it isn't. Okay, he decides to scramble and runs right into a sack. And again, not a perfect job by the offensive line. In fact, kind of a sloppy job and a sloppy pickup, but they did their job, right? They did their job. They're rushing 4. You got 5 guys blocking. Okay, if Tua stays, and here he's starting to vacate, if he stays tight in the pocket, right? If he just stands in there, boom, right here with yards to run, right? It's a 2nd and medium, and Tua turns it into a 3rd and about 15. Again, not entirely his fault, because his offensive line this game was not great. But here you got to give what the defense, you got to take what the defense is giving you, right? And I think Russell Wilson has some of those similar problems, right? But Russ is able to overcome it with that playmaking ability, which I think Tua does have, right? But he has to work on more of the fundamentals and more on, sitting tight in the pocket when he has it. All right, so here this is going to be my last clip. This is going to end it, but we're going to end it with a good, right? Because I did just show, Tua in the face of pressure, making questionable decisions or running into pressure. But this is from the Patriots game. This is from the week before the Raiders game where he got benched. And I think that he had a really good game here. Didn't necessarily push the ball down the field too much. I think that's one thing that you need to see. And it's kind of hard to dissect on film, because I would have had to show about 25 clips of them running swing passes and screens, and nothing necessarily wrong with that. But it seemed from time to time like the Dolphins coaches didn't either trust Tua to push the ball down the field or trust their offensive line to hold up, blocking enough and creating that pocket for him to sit back there and let the routes develop. But this is an example of him doing what you want to see, right? Pressure in his face, a nasty pass rush from the Patriots. And the drive before this, he actually threw an interception right on the goal line. So impressive for a number of reasons. They do end up winning this game. He played relatively well, played efficiently. I think he was 20 for 26 with about 145 yards. Didn't have a touchdown, but especially last year, the Dolphins like to run the ball a lot. So I think that was just a product of that. And then also the play designs just kind of giving him shorter, quicker developing routes. But here is a nice play, right? So we'll watch it through. And like I said, because Patriots are rushing 5 here, right? So it's 5-on-5. They're twisting. They're going all around, right? Belichick is kind of known for these type of pressures of sending guys at you from A gap, B gap. We got, going from the C gap into the A gap here, right? Some creative rushes, and then he has an in-breaking route that he delivers a strike to. And I'll tell you why it's impressive. It's a nice throw, right? But going off of what I said he needed to work on, getting those happy feet and kind of bailing out, this is the opposite, literally the opposite, right? So again, a really unique, first of all, a twist on the left side. You have Wise starting inside, looping outside, your defensive end crashing. Here you have a similar thing, except you have 2 defensive linemen working outside. I think that's Winovich. Can't see his hair. But you have your C gap, right, your outside man, and he started in a wide 9, so he's way out there, okay? Dolphins' offensive line does an okay job, but this is a really unique rush, and the Patriots are really good at it, so not surprised they almost got home. And again, here is where Tua, in the past and in the last season, sees a white jersey, sees a silver helmet, sees some pressure, sees an offensive line falling down, maybe goes, oh crap, and tries to roll one way or another. But instead, and I'll slow it down, right again, right here, he knows who he's looking for, right? This receiver starts this break, and again, guy about to hit him, guy coming from the outside, offensive lineman on his butt, just know what's coming over here, has his eyes locked, okay? And with that pressure, with that pocket actually collapsing in this case, delivers a really nice throw down the middle of the field, right, for about a 20-yard gain. This is exactly what you want to see from Tua. And again, he can make those plays with his legs. He can be a playmaker like someone like Russell Wilson, but you got to pick and choose, right? And you got to take what the defense is giving you, in this case, the middle of the field, and also feel comfortable even when they're setting those pressures. And again, that's on the offensive line as well. And I think they'll be improved this year. Drafted my guy Liam Eichenberg from Notre Dame, who I think you can plug and play. And look at this, right? Pressure in his face. Normally, maybe he bails out, but here he delivers a strike in the middle of the field. So that's impressive and definitely reason to be optimistic for Dolphins fans next year regarding Tua. And I won't lie, I've been a Tua doubter here and there as well. And I still think there is reason for concern in a couple of categories, right? But if you see him, first of all, like I said, get some play action, get some natural rollouts, because he's really good throwing on the run, rather than having to panic in the pocket and having him just sit back there, with a 5-man protection. Maybe give him an extra man, a blocker in on the line, or a running back who can pass block, because the Dolphins running backs have some terrible reps pass blocking, especially in this Patriots game. I think he'll be okay, right? I think he'll be perfectly fine and, thrive under some new offensive coordinators.